I keep the history of the influence that sparked the blues off from gospel. I keep the gospel in my music. I don't fade away just to get on stage. I don't use foot pedals. I bring it just like the old guys brought it. They was telling a story that they can relate to and that their neighbors can relate to. And when you get away from that and start playing just so just you can make a lot of noise, but not telling a story, people might get into the hype of it, but the hype is not what's gonna last. As long as I've been doing it 60 years, or it won't last 60 minutes. You're here today, gone today. But I try to listen to the forerunners, like T-Bone Walker, Ella Utah Smith, B.B. King, all these cats who inspired me. They inspired B.B. King. There was so many different style of blues. There's so many different places. But a lot of time, I was explaining it today. A lot of time, people go to Chicago and learn about what they know about the blues, thinking it was born in Chicago. But no, it was brought up there. But the truth of the music is still walking around every day, where in the Delta, where now it's all over the South, where it was born out of the gospel. And when the spirit is not in it, you would know it, you would hear it, and you won't feel it. But when the spirit is in it, not only will you hear it, you will feel it. And that's what I've always been doing for 60 years, playing music that I feel that you're gonna feel, that you can relate to, not singing at you, but singing to you. And that's what the Forerunners was doing. When they were singing gospel, when they were singing congregational songs, when those congregational songs turned into slave cries or rebellions against evil that was done to man, poetic way of trying to tell their story. They was telling the truth. They was singing the truth. They was living the truth. And when the music is only a copy of that, it's like coming to Australia and said, "I've been to Sydney. Now I know all of Australia." That's how ridiculous that sounds to us when someone say, "I went to Chicago. I heard a blues song. Now I know the blues." You got to be a part of all of it. You got to be a part of Wagga Wagga, not just Sydney Harbour. You got to be a part of Western Australia. Today when I was flying in, quite a few flight attendants who've been working for Qantas for right at 30 some years and 40 some years have never flown across to Western Australia. So they would not know, although it's part of the country. And until you take part, that is why I was asking about this hall. And when I go to new places, I want to know about the people. I don't want to just sing at you. And that's what those guys from my past was doing. The teaching, the people that I listen to, it shows in my life because someone walks up to me and say, "Hey, something you did inspired me to be me, to do what I do because of you." And that lets me know that their teaching is still shining in me. That history, that yesterday is still shining in me, not just when I turn it on and turn it off. I don't turn it off. It's on all the time. And it's built in, and it lets me know that those teachers was on the right track. And that's what turned me into who I am today.
When I worked in Florida in '89, one of the men there, he invited me to the Baptist church. Every week we went down there. And that energy you're talking about, it's still, that's what, in the church, the choirs and what it does to people. It goes right through their body and makes them get up. Of
course, but see, there's so many different religion. It's not just black religion. There's different religion as there is pebbles on a beach. You got the Church of God in Christ, got their own sound. You got the Baptists, got their own sound. Church of God, Church of Living God, Methodist AME, the lack of non-religion, non-denomination. Each one would dictate a sound or a particular groove or a particular melody or a particular message. And it didn't start there. It's a combination of all. That's like a gumbo. And When you go to Stax Music Record, well, Stax is a museum now. Soon as you walk in the door, there's these little televisions that represent quite a few different religion that was going on in that area. And all that sounds that you hear from Stax, it was influenced and inspired from all those different religions, the Baptist, the Methodist, Church of God in Christ, non-denomination, church singing with no instruments, because you are the instrument. Your voice, your hand clapping, you are the instrument. The guitar, the piano, all that stuff accompany what you got to say. And if you ain't got nothing to say, no matter what you do on your instrument, you still ain't said nothing.
And like the field music, where it's just singing while you're working.
Well, that again, all that came from gospel. That came from gospel. That came from a spiritual situation that you know about. And when people fail to understand where that is coming from, they just see it as field hands, thinking they, say, well, even the slave owners were saying, oh, they fine, they happy, they out there singing, they happy. There's nothing wrong with those people. No, that's not the story, because you're not getting to know what is going on. You're just seeing something and taking that for granted as the truth. And a lot of people don't understand it until they taste the gumbo. You got to taste the gumbo.
And when you started at a young age, you talk about your father a lot.
Yeah,
Was your
Hideaway
father-
Slim.
Was he the musical?
60 years ago, he gave me my first taste of music. I didn't have records. He was my taste of music. He was my inspiration.
He played guitar?
He was a guitar player. I had a plastic shovel walking behind him to learn to figured out how to bring out that sound that was already in my head. And he saw that I was serious, but it was up to me from that point on, once he showed me what to do, to actually put it into effect. And by actually practicing and doing it. And he didn't put a time limit. He didn't say, I want you to learn this by this time or that time. When he saw I was catching on, he showed me something else. And he gradually saw how well I was doing. He had more. And he put me to work straight away, playing backup for him. Yeah, so that's my first taste of music. Some people said, oh, I heard a record and I'll play it back and I'll play it back and I'll play it back and move the needle and stuff like that. We didn't have that. By the time I was 7 when I first heard a record, and it was gospel then, and the Mighty Clouds of Joy. And through the Mighty Clouds of Joy, I was able to not only meet all the gospel greats like the Blind Boys, the Soul Stirrers, the Dixie Hummingbirds, the Jackson Southernaires, the Williams Brothers, or the list goes on and on. All of them, Willie Banks and the Messengers. Oh man, the Blind Boys of Mississippi, the Blind Boys of Alabama.
I've actually filmed
working with them and traveling with them. Matter of fact, I called Uncle Clarence until the day he died. They was like family. I got a chance to work with them and learn from them. The Dixie Hummingbirds, Mr. Carroll on the guitar. They was teaching, without holding a classroom. They was teaching, and I was learning how to harmonize through the Mighty Clouds of Joy. And Spanky on guitar and Richard on his bass. Richard created a groove that is still alive and well in the Mighty Clouds of Joy groove today. It's just coming together with that message and that history of his father and his father before that. That's what I try to maintain and stay true to, not change just because there was a new date on the calendar. I can't just fill in and change who I am just because there's a new era or try something. Because those who are doing that, they're searching. I don't need to search. I know who I am. I search to make who I am even better and stronger. And that's the key to my getting out and about and telling the world about this music.
And what people have you played with that you really admired?
Oh, everybody I played with, I admired. I have never done a bad show in my life. Wow, B.B. King, Eugene Carrier, James Tony, Tony Coleman. James Bolden on these are members of BB's band. The list just goes on. It's so many to even think about right now. I have to like make a list, You know, all of the gospel greats, Sister Inez Andrews. Wow, there's so many. But they were able, you know, Ira Tucker taught me how to take care of the voice. You know, Eugene Carrier showed me how to appreciate the groove and how to make a statement and everything, and use those horn lines in my playing, because that's what he do on his piano. These guys were just, you know, they had something to say, and that's what I try to encourage people, to be around someone who have something to say. Be around people who are going to encourage you to say something even on your own. They teach you, but don't repeat what they got to say, but they teach you how to say something.
And one last thing, because I know you're playing soon. When you were playing with your father, what was the first band that you played when you sort of got away from your dad and you wanted to go?
When I turned 7, my daddy started preaching, so he said no more blues in my house. So it was the Bridges brothers, me and my brother, and all my brothers, and then my sisters forced her way in. But yeah, that was the first group. But then I was playing with my dad, traveling with the Morning Stars, a lot of local groups in Louisiana area between Baton Rouge and New Orleans. I would play the guitar for them, and my daddy would jump on the bass. You know, so I would play for my pastor, and then when I was 13, I started my own band, my R&B band, the 5 Stars. But I was always, you know, the melody was always there. Even though Daddy said no more blues, I would still play the blues behind his back. You know, I had to sneak and play, because he was a preacher then, and he didn't, you know, it was either blues or that's it. You know, but he wasn't gonna be strict like my grandmother was with him. He said, I know you want to get out there and tickle them strings, but I just want you to remember where you come from and remember the Lord.
And what sort of tours have you done? Outside of America, do you go to all Europe and places like that, or you just?
I've been invited all over the world. There's not a continent I haven't been to. There's a few countries I haven't been to, but that's not a continent that I haven't been to.
Like South America?
And all over South America, all over Africa, all over Asia, everywhere. We've been. I mean, I have to like sit down and make a list or look at the map. When I look at the map, I just look at places I've played and everything. You know, Nepal. I've been everywhere. Up in Canada. Wow, the Shetland Islands. Wow.
You keep coming back to Australia?
By invitation.
It's a long trip?
By invitation.
Long trip for you?
It's to me, it's just next door.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming from somewhere. I'm coming from Asia, which is next door. Yeah. I don't come straight out of America to, 29 hours, then go 29 hours back to America and then sit on my butt. No, we're traveling. We're going where the music is appreciated. We're going to where the music is invited. And if someone don't invite me, if I'm part of your family and you don't feed me, I'm gonna eat at somebody's house. So that's basically the reason why I don't stop. Even when somebody else try to starve me to death, I won't stop.
And what do you see for your future? Like,
keep playing. I got a live album about to drop later, probably the 1st of next year, or maybe even sooner. I'm not sure. I have a Roots and Vines 2 that I've been working on, almost finished, and I got 2 other albums written and ready to go in the studio to record. So I still got a lot more to say.
And are these solo, or you got?
No, this is band. This is band. All this is band.
Your band, or
all my band. All the albums. I got some CDs here. That's my band.
Guesting on there.
On 2 albums I got. Matter of fact, Ian Moss special guest on one of the tracks. I got Lucky Oceans from Sleep at the Wheel. He's special guest. Ray Wiley Hubbard, Lloyd Maines from the Dixie Chick. They special guests on some tracks. But it's me and the guitar and the band. I write the horn lines that the horn's gonna be playing. I write the bass line that the bass got to play, because it's all up here. They don't create their own sound. It's all coming from here, from back like it were back in '66. When I have a bass line or have a melody, I play it. But everything is built around me, my voice, and this guitar. And I don't put anything in there that's not going to be edified to the listener.
And do you find you're evolving to, of course you've been playing for a long time, but do you find that when you do these albums you evolve into a different type of...
No. That's the thing. I don't change. I see what needs to be said. You don't need to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to reinvent the sound and try to search for something. I know what needs to be said. But I'm not going to sit here and just make up a song and hope you just buy it. And it's not a conversation. You know, I don't reinvent, but I never stop learning. I keep learning, I keep listening, I keep striving to do better, but to deliver the same sound that I learned from the 40s, from the 30s, from the 20s, from the 50s, that the forerunners, because it's not my story. This story didn't start with me. It didn't even start with my daddy. It didn't even start with his daddy. So the thing is, I gotta stay true to that. I'm not gonna water down the music. You know, it's like watering down grandma's soup. You know, there's no way I'm gonna water down grandma's soup. You know, and this is my story. And I gotta be able to tell that story. That's why when I come to places like this, a lot of people don't never heard of me, but they don't know what to expect. But those who know me, they know exactly what to expect. And I want to be able to deliver that same energy, that same message, because it's still the same thing. Noah preached the same message over and over. It's gonna rain, it's gonna rain. He didn't get jiggy with it. He didn't water it down. He told the story, the message that needed to be told. Those who listened, they were saved. Those who didn't, they just lost out. So I'm not gonna change who I am just so I can get an extra person in the door.
I don't think people would want you to change because your music, the style you've got.
I gotta be true to who I am.
Is who you
I
are.
got to be true to who I am. And there's no me without that. There's no me without that.
Oh, well, thanks for that. So, Eugene Bridges, I hope you have a great tour, and
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear you play again tonight.
Well, 60 years, I hope I'll be able to do another 60 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much.